Hello, and let's see how we go. Are we recording? Yeah, cool. Why did the duck go to jail? He was selling quack. Okay. Video. Okay, we're working on types of relations. So essentially, we've got all these different functions. We've got all these different relationships. We're going to try and give them some names. Okay, now there's 4 categories, and each graph can be put into one of these categories. Now, if you take a look at the categories here, we've got one-to-one, we've got a many-to-one, we've got one-to-many, and we've got many-to-many. Okay, now I know it sounds confusing at first, and I've got all these little boxes with numbers. I'll explain what all that is. But all you need to know, and I've written it across each and every one of them, is the first, I don't know, one to something, something to something. The first something is always representing the x's, and then the second something represents the y. Okay, so in this case here, you can see that there's one x to one y, or many x's to one y, or taking a look here, one x to many y's, or many x's to many y's. And I've got a graph that kind of represents each, but I'll also show you what I mean by that. Now, if we're doing this, and I'm going to use maybe a red highlighter, something different, spicy. We're going to go 1 to 1. So that means for every one x, I need one y. So it could go 1 to 4, and I can even cross over. But as you can see, for every one x, there's only one y. That's an example of 1 to 1. And if we take a look at a 1 to 1, let's take a look at the vertical line test. So I've got a graph here that is an example of a 1 to 1. Okay, so if I draw the vertical line test, and maybe I'll do it in pencil so it's not so intense. If I do the vertical line test, you can kind of see that at each vertical line that I draw, I only cut once. So that is a pass. And if I look at the horizontal line test, every time I draw a horizontal line, I only cut my graph once. So it also passes the horizontal line test. So it makes sense. It's 1 to 1. Looking at the next one, we've got many to 1. So what this looks like is I can have many x's that go to the same, one. Okay, so that's an example of a many to 1. Okay, so there's many x's that go to the same one. Now, just to make things different, I could also go there, but you can see now at this point, it is still many to 1. Okay, now the way that this looks is if I take a look at my vertical line test, as you can see, my vertical line test is all good, we pass. Okay, but if I draw my horizontal line test, you can see at this point here, and I'll highlight it so you can definitely see it. Can you see that on that yellow line, I cut my graph at multiple locations? Okay, so that's many different x values cutting through one y value. So in this case here, it does not pass the horizontal line test. And so that's a bit of a cross. But because they both pass the vertical line test, these are both still functions, okay? As long as it's to 1, anything to 1, as long as there is only ever one y value per x, it will still be a function, okay? Because a function means it's 1 to 1 or many to 1, okay? That's the idea of a function. Now let's take a look at the other two. We've got an example of 1 to many or 1x to many. And also we've got an example of many x's to many y's. Okay, so again, taking a look at this, if I have 1x that goes to many y's, and the other things can kind of do whatever they want to do, but you can see here that the 1 goes to more than one y. So this is an example of, this is an example of a 1 to many. Yeah, just processing, making sure that's all good. Pretty sure that is. If it's not, comment below. That took a while. Thank you. Taking a look at this, let's take a look at our vertical line test. So as you can see, doing our vertical line test at many different parts, we actually do not pass the vertical line test, but with our horizontal line test, you can kind of see that, yeah, we do pass. Okay, so we do pass the horizontal, but we don't pass the vertical. Okay, and this last one, if we've got many to many, it just means that we have one to many. Yeah, okay. I'm going to fix this. For this to work, I'm going to get rid of that one. So that way you can kind of see that there's one. There's a single X value that can go to many Y values. Yeah. You know what? Someone needs to comment here. Can I have, yeah, otherwise that would be many to many. So I'm going to take that one away. Sorry if you have already written that one down. My bad. Get rid of it. That's a learning opportunity. And then this last one, if we've got many to many, that means we can have many of these ones here going to many different of the Y's. So now we can kind of have a little bit of a spree. So you can kind of see here that there's a lot of stuff going on. Basically, I can have many different X's go to many different Y's, okay? So it's kind of like both ways kind of chaos. And you can kind of see this when you do your vertical line test. You can see that on multiple occasions, we will fail the vertical line test. And then same with the horizontal. You can see now that we have that one there, that one there. There's multiple places where we cut, so we also fail the horizontal line test. Okay, that's conceptually what it is. The questions will often ask you to classify which relation they are. And as noted here, because they don't pass the vertical line test, these ones are not functions. Okay, no function. All right, now here's a helpful diagram to kind of sum all that up. I'll let you pause it and copy it down if you find it helpful. Just note, if it passes the vertical line test, it is a function. If it does not pass the vertical line test, then it is not a function. Okay. Now, of course, it would break down on me right as I'm recording. Come on, Apple, sponsor me with a new iPad, please. I'll give this iPad away at 1,000 subs. Promise. Okay, almost there. And last one here. Okay, let's classify each relation. So if we take a look here, I know we can just take a look at the ones from above, but let's take a look. I'll draw these in yellow. Do we pass the vertical line test? I'm looking at that. The vertical line test, yes, we do. Do we pass the horizontal line test? We definitely do not. Okay, so in that case here, if I pass the vertical and I don't pass the horizontal, I pass the vertical, not the horizontal, we can see here it's actually a many to one. Okay, so I have many X's that go to one. So I'm going to write here, it's a many to one. And then it's still a function, okay, because it passes the vertical line test. Now looking at this one here, I'm going to cut through, and as you can see, based on these ones, I can see that there's going to cut with that. I can see here that I cut multiples on the X's and the Y's. Now, if I fail the vertical line test, I've stopped using colors. So the vert fails, the horizontal fails, so that way, if we take a look up here, if it fails and fails, it must be a many to many. Okay, many to many, and we can see here that it is not a function. Okay, I apologize about the colors here. Now, what if I give you some equations? Okay, now the easiest part here is to note, what type of graph is this? Oh yeah, that's a singular X. It must be some sort of linear. Now I know it's going to cut at 3. And I'm going to have a gradient of +2. Now looking at this, I can see here that I'd actually pass my horizontal line test and my vertical. So my vertical line test is a pass. My horizontal line test is a pass. Therefore, this one is what we call 1, 2. 1. That means for every one x, there's only one y, and it is a function. Okay, now looking at this one here, I'm going to give this one a go at sketching as well. Now, it doesn't super matter the perfect sketch. I can tell you from this, though, maybe we'll make it a parabola question. I'm going to factorize it so I can see that I'm going to cut at 0 and -3. It's going to be a positive kind of parabola. So it's going to go down like this and up like that. Now, taking a look here, do I pass my vertical line test? The answer is yes, I do. So my vert is all good. But if I'm looking at my horizontal line test, it is no good. Horizontal line test fails. So in other words, if my vertical passes and my horizontal line test fails, it is going to be many to 1. And therefore, because it's still 2, 1, it is still a function. Hopefully that helps. That's all for today. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.